G'day traders and welcome to the first episode of our podcast with the Barter Blokes. I'm Brian and this is Ray.
He's Aussie and I am Kiwi, and over the coming weeks we look at and discuss Bartercard, the world's largest business-to-business trade exchange. We also catch up with some of the members in the network and some of the staff that are in business, so stick around as we explore the world of Bartercard. Thank you for joining us today. Today we will talk about what is Bartercard. Brian, what is Bartercard?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, Ray. I've actually been talking to a few people around the building in the last couple of days leading up to the podcast. I've been trying to ask people what their one-line or their tagline would be about it. Got a couple of interesting ones. A few of note would be a club for business owners. Just simply endless possibilities. I didn't mind that one because if you put your mind to it, there's not much you can't do. My favourite one personally has always been living above your means. So to me, it just gives you the ability to do that little bit extra. If you wanted to spend a bit more money on your marketing budget, you can use your Bartercard account for that.
I guess on my side of things, connecting businesses with people, connecting people and connecting businesses. That's it in a nutshell for, on my side of things.
Yep.
Now, just a quick one as well. Why would someone want to use Bartercard?
Right. So I suppose the easiest way to start off with that is, why do I use Bartercard? And given that I'm not just an employee, I have a Bartercard account as well, use my account all the time. And that's paid for everything from my car I'm driving to nearly every appliance in our kitchen over the last couple of years. Meals, vets. My sister just got the dog looked to at a vet the other day. She couldn't afford to pay for it. Big brother's come to the party. I don't get to do that a lot, so
it's always good. It's always good when you can kind of help out in family situations and things.
Makes you look good, and just just giving you that extra ability. My little brother, when he was setting up his mechanic shop, just starting out, 2 kids at home, single dad, starting his shop up, had no money. We got the local signage company, did all his signs. We got business cards printed, flyers, all the line marking and all the safety equipment and everything.
Yeah.
Set him up. That saved him a fortune and he's going great guns.
Have you had any experience with the businesses that you work with and, some of the areas that they've actually utilised their Bartercard as well?
Yeah, 100%. So, I've got a coffee company. And he started off as a franchisee, and I'm sure if he ever hears this, he won't mind me telling a few inside stories. But started off as a franchisee for another coffee company. They weren't looking after him, so through some rebranding, using a graphic designer, getting his website redone and everything, he was able to relaunch under his own name and under his own brand. And over the last couple of years, he started taking over the southeast Queensland. Any of the trade coordinators out there would know exactly who I'm talking about because they'd be sick of hearing about him. But that's a whole other thing. But yeah, he's been able to build that business up from nothing using his Bartercard, doing sales. All his marketing budget is 100% Bartercard.
Yeah. That's the same as me. I mean, I've got a few members that have used Bartercard, especially on the marketing side of things, and being able to actually increase their budget. They might have a cash budget that they actually work with, but having just that extra, with Bartercard and stuff like that, it allows them to, to kind of expand on marketing opportunities. And I think that's one of the best things about, being part of the actual network itself, is that the opportunities and the possibilities, as you said, when we first started, it's endless, basically.
That's right. If you put your mind to it, you can get anything done.
And that is one thing as well, not only just putting your mind to it, but being able to be proactive as well in the actual...
Look at other options as well. Think differently.
Exactly. It is. You do have to be very creative in Bartercard, and by doing that, it actually allows you to explore all of those opportunities that are actually out there, and find different ways to actually get them through.
100%. And I suppose while we're talking about how you use Bartercard, I said a bit about how I use it in my personal life, but you got a bit of a unique perspective there being a dad, and I just want to see if you'd throw a few.
Hey, well, with me and my family, I have 4 kids. 22, 4 kids. But, 4 kids, and I've been able to share, create memories, not share, but create memories just by utilizing Bartercard. We went to New Zealand for a holiday, and when we were there, I was able to actually utilize Bartercard and take 3 families actually up to the mountain. We went snowboarding. I got all the gear on trade, and that comes from boots to the boards to the skis to the pants and the jacket, and just creating those lifelong memories for my kids, and Bartercard being behind all of that. There was another situation where I've taken family out for dinners as well. I've utilized it with with my oldest son, being able to actually buy what's it called? Like a tens machine. And that, he's a sports player and stuff like that, so it helps with...
I got one of those the other day, thank you for that.
It helps with, those sort of things there where he's, injuries, muscle injuries and things. So he's been able to utilize Bartercard for his side of things, just to kind of keep at peak performance with footy and everything. So, yeah, it has definitely allowed my family to create a lifestyle, of memories and things.
Yeah, and it's interesting you talk about the tens machine as well, because that just reminds me, just my basic script is, anyone knows me knows I'm a little bit broken, but take some medication regularly. My scripts are all on trade through one of the local Brisbane chemists, and that's all there ready for pickup and that. So that's one thing I don't have to worry about having cash for, because I've got my Bartercard there and it's paid up in advance, so I know that's ready to go when I need it.
Definitely.
Dad's CPAP machine as well, same chemist, and that's given my stepmom many a restful night, because my dad is the biggest power snorer you ever meet in your life. Yeah.
Hey, on that as well, like as we're talking about, why would someone use Bartercard and things like that? What are the what's the word I'm looking?
As a business owner, so I deal with a lot of clients that have a lot of, let's just call it what it is, crap sitting in the garage, or things that they haven't been able to move and that as well. And one man's trash is another one's treasure, as I've always been brought up as, and you'd be surprised how something you've had sitting in the shed for 10 years, someone's been looking for 8 of them.
Yeah.
And just by moving that stock around and that as well. Restaurants, I've got a burger chain I look after in Brisbane who's busy on a Friday and Saturday night. The rest of the week, the 4 restaurants are kind of just floundering, trying to keep themselves above water, but by bringing the Bartercard in, it brings a few extra bodies in. So you're driving past and you see the empty fish and chip shop or the burger shop that's got 10 people, you're going to go check the burger shop out.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I've actually just got someone just trying to call in and things like that. I'm not too sure how to answer this, but I'll just give them I'll call you back.
That's the way. Yeah, don't they know it's podcast time?
Yeah, exactly. But, on my side of things as well, like, why would you want to use Bartercard? Look, I've had a new member that's come on board. He owns a restaurant, and he knows a little bit about Bartercard. He used to be a staff member in Bartercard, and he's using Bartercard to actually create wealth. And, one of the areas that he's looking at using it in is, yes, he's using it in the restaurant area, but he's actually got a bigger plan. And the bigger plan is in the real estate side of things. And, the amount of deals that are actually available out there when someone is actually very proactive, the opportunities that he has created just for himself, to create that wealth or that portfolio, that investment portfolio, and us being, behind the whole thing, it's definitely an eye-opener on my side of things, even though I've been in Bartercard for 7 years. To see someone...
amazes me all the time.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. To see someone that actually does that, you look at these guys and you kind of go, did you just want to come into the actual office and show us how you actually put that all together? Because there are a lot of people that are, probably not as experienced as myself and yourself and things like that. But
There's some
even though
creative
when I
people.
look at it,
Yeah.
when I look at it myself, I've been there 7 years, and he's doing things that I want to do.
Hmm.
And I think it's just a matter of actually jumping out of that comfort zone, and us actually doing it. But how? He's got the formula and things like that, so I'm pretty keen to, learn off the members as well. But I mean, yeah, that's another reason why you would use it, to create a portfolio, to create a
Build your wealth.
build
Yeah.
your wealth. Exactly.
You touched on something there as well, is you learnt from him, like talking to him as well. That's another big thing I've picked up on, is I'm talking to hundreds of business owners a week. Like, it's very rare that two of them are in the same industry,
Mm.
and it's even rarer that they're doing the same thing in the same industry. Like, no two business owners are ever the same,
Yeah.
and they've all got their own take on it and their own twist on it. And then I might have a suggestion for them, but then I'll throw a question over to you across the room, and you'll have a completely different perspective on the exact same thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's just crazy how much you can learn about things.
That's right. That's right. I mean, there's another member that I guess we're sharing some third-party stories now, because that's where, all the gold is really,
Yeah.
in third-party stories, and how members in Bartercard have actually utilised Bartercard to create wealth, to, build their business, to have a better lifestyle and things like that. And one of the things that I'm working on at the moment is with a property developer, and the property developer has kind of been real quiet over the last few years. He has still been part of the actual network, but, it takes one phone call for us to actually connect.
Yep.
And then from that connection, he's given me an opportunity to actually put out a couple of properties on his side of things. Basically, moving that as quick as possible has allowed for him to actually see the opportunity as a quick sale for the next ones. So he's opened it up. He's given me a little bit more now to actually go with. But on that side of things, he's now looking, okay, what does Bartercard have that I can actually offset when I'm building my next development?
Yeah, to make more cream off the top of it.
Exactly. So now we got to that point now where I've touched base with you. I've touched base with a couple of others in the state itself,
Yep.
just to kind of get a feel for what members are out there that would be keen to actually help. Now, let's say that he's got a budget of, I'm throwing numbers out there. These numbers aren't correct or anything like that, but let's say it's 100 million for the development itself. Now, if we could get 20% of that done on Bartercard, that's a $20 million, cash offset that you get to keep, that he gets to keep back in his pocket, and he can utilize that on other things that he wants to do. And those are the things there where
I don't know many people that would say no to that.
exactly $20 million to be able to put that back in your actual business, keep that in your pocket.
Yeah, and just the feedback I've been getting from just talking to tradies, wanting to, like, just getting them to be a part of that and quoting on the job and that as well, and the unique opportunity, because it's hard for them in the cash world.
Yeah,
But being a Bartercard member has given them the opportunity to quote on a job they wouldn't get a look in at.
That's right, and that is key. That is definitely key on that side of things, is where, the members, it is just like, it's a network. It's almost like a warm market for you. Being on Bartercard, you've actually got a foot in the door if you play the game right.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Like, you've got to be fair in your pricing and things like
'Cause
that.
one thing I've noticed in 7 years is if you do the wrong thing by a member, they will tell everyone they know, and you'll get a name for yourself.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah, but the ones doing right get the same name,
Yeah.
and they'll always be recommended. And the beauty of that one is, if you're happy with someone, you're not just telling your Bartercard members and your Bartercard friends, you're telling your cash client and your friend, like Jimmy that lives next door, about your mowing guy that did an amazing job.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's, yeah, I mean, how else would we use Bartercard? Why would you want to use Bartercard? What have you got anything else in that book of goodies there?
In the little book of goodies. So I suppose some of the other things we'd be doing about is, like, we were talking about it from the insider's point of view. We touched on a few, you spending as a dad, and from a parent's point of view.
Yep.
Started sharing some stories about clients and that as well.
Yep.
But I think that's where the benefit of this is for the listeners out there and for the traders, is hearing some stories about what people like themselves have done.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
And we've all heard those classic third-party stories and that as well. Winning big contracts is a great one for those of you that don't have it. If you're a tradie and you're quoting against other tradies, and you find out the person you're quoting with is a Bartercard member, you've got a whole heap of power. But if they're not, you've also got the power to take a percentage of your invoice in their goods or services, tickets, whatever their business is. If it's a car, you take part of your payment in a car. Like, I don't know, I'm just spitballing here. But you can effectively take part of the payment from your contract in whatever their goods or services are and be able to out-quote someone else by taking a reduced cash
portion, yes, exactly. And then you can obviously flip that piece into the cash market, or
flip it to us and we'll sell it.
That's right. So there's various opportunities.
And I think one of my favourite things about this is, because I come from a hospitality background, and one thing that I've always hated working in the pub game and that, 2-for-1 Tuesdays and cheap steak nights.
Yeah.
Like, we're taking the most expensive product on the menu and putting it in a $10 meal and farming it out there to everyone, to have none of those people come back any other night of the week until it's $10 again.
You know, it's funny because we were watching that video yesterday on how Bartercard works. Do you remember that?
Yep.
And in that actual video itself, it did actually say, like, you know, instead of discounting and, you know, getting discounting and going to some of those other Groupons and things like that, you know, there's an opportunity to actually bring in the business and not have to discount that. You know, by discounting it, you're minimizing your profits. You actually have to sell more just to actually, you know, kind of break even.
There'll be a particular set of ears that'll perk up to this one, but I believe it's an additional sales channel. So Bartercard, it's a completely different sales channel that you wouldn't have had access to any other way.
Yes.
Those people are going to come see you just because you're a Bartercard member.
And I find that. I actually see that, you know, like a lot of members out there, they do want to actually connect with a Bartercard member first before they actually go to the cash market. And, you know, on my side of things, when I'm talking to members, you know, I'm saying to them, look, let's just try this person, okay? Let's compare apples with apples. But realistically, it's a Bartercard apple versus the cash apple. I mean, they're still in the same industry, just different types of currency that they're using. And, you know, the response that you get from the members when they're saying, okay, let's go there first. And if it doesn't work, they're basically at square one.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it's a good thing that way, where it's like, let's try it. Let's see if we can get a deal out of this. And if we can get a deal out of it, then we don't have to go cash. If we don't get a deal out of it, well, we're at square one anyway, and we were going to go cash.
Well, I've even heard it on the flip side of that. I've heard of a guy getting a fencing contractor, put up his fence, brand new Colorbond fencing and that. We didn't have a local member that could do the install and all the supply for him. He's got a local guy, just happened to have gotten married, paid for his and his wife's honeymoon because they couldn't afford to pay for a honeymoon. So he's paid for the honeymoon on Bartercard. The guy's done a fence when he's got back from the honeymoon.
Wow.
Yeah. So he's got something he couldn't get on Bartercard.
Yeah. I remember doing something like that. Must have been about 4 years ago. I had a member ask me for a garage door. And, you know, this is just being creative and things like that as well. This, you know, for you guys out there that are listening, there are these particular types of opportunities that you get to actually have a go at. I mean, the worst that's going to happen is you're going to end up paying cash, like I was just saying. But what actually happened is this member had asked me, I need a garage door. I was like, okay, well, let me see what we've got in the network. I couldn't find anything in the network. So I ended up calling around into the cash market, and I spoke to a company out in Helensvale. And these guys were like, oh, okay, what's the deal? And I said, well, look, I've got a guy who's part of the Bartercard network and is looking to get a door installed, and we're looking to do something. We're looking to do something with you where we trade services rather than. And you know, the guy was like, okay, what does he do? And I said, well, he basically does flooring. He said, well, I don't need flooring. And then I said to him, okay, so what else would you like? And at that point, he was actually looking at upgrading his website. and getting an app done. And I said, okay, well, we've got people in the network that can actually do that. I said, what are you looking for exactly? So he gave me all the details. I made a couple of calls around and found a guy that actually was a web developer and an app developer. And I said to him, okay, can we connect you with this guy here, because this is the whole deal and everything like that? And he said, yeah, that's fine. So just to kind of cut a long story short, at the end of it, what I ended up doing was getting the door done for my member, and my member paying for the website for the guy that put the door in.
Nice.
And that, that there was just, it was just off the back, really. It was one of those things where it's like, I'm just going to try it, and if it doesn't work, well, we're going to have to say, you're going to have to go cash. But in that instance there, it actually worked out. And it's one of those things there where you just kind of like look at it and you go, you can actually do a lot with Bartercard.
Yes. Yeah. And sometimes you get some crazy deals, eh?
Yeah, that's right. Stay tuned. We'll be coming up with some other topics coming up. Check us out on YouTube. Check us out on Instagram under the Barter Blokes. We definitely are out there. We're looking to help out everyone. But for now, thank you very much and goodbye.
Goodbye, guys, and drop us a line.